What is up, beautiful people? The beautiful people, the beautiful people, the beautiful people, the beautiful people. It's your girl back again with Is It In Yet? How are you guys today? Me, I'm doing fine. This is the doctor today, had a physical. I assume all is well. I always eat, you know how they say fast? I don't. I feel like you should eat what you naturally eat. I want to see what that cholesterol is doing to my burger. The burger is doing to my cholesterol. I haven't, I've never had bad numbers, but I fasted for at least 12 hours, but I need to know what that burger and fries is really doing to my cholesterol. Why would I fat? I mean, I get the whole point of it, but don't you want true numbers? Don't you want to know if you had a pancake breakfast and then you go and see how much that spikes your insulin? Then that kind of lets me know, okay, that burger wasn't so bad. So I can honestly tell y'all that my cholesterol and everything looks good. And I did eat, what did I eat yesterday? A calzone and cheesecake. And my diet has been so trash, y'all. I gotta get back on a good foot. Other than that, I had decent numbers. I'm doing a C+. That ain't terrible. So Jonathan Majors is falling faster than a meteor from space. He's getting so many allegations of abuse out on him, alleged abuse. His publicist and everything dropped him because there's other women coming out that are saying that the brother's going, I don't know, you're going to be seeing him in some Tyler Perry movies because he's continuing to fall from grace pretty fast. So there was a South Florida police chase, carjacking that leaves 2 suspects in custody. Snoop Dogg isn't feeling the AI collab with Tupac and Biggie Smalls. There's a study that says 90% of men cannot make a woman come. This is from some stamina thing. Let's see. I really always say this every day, but due to all the crap I do every day, I really haven't been looking at what's going on. So this Stop the Steal organizer, Ali Alexander, he apologizes for inappropriate text messages with teen boys. And here's the video.
In this video clip, Ali Alexander allegedly is responding to claims made that there was a 17-year-old who had accused Ali of some sort of, sexually explicit conversation with him over Periscope, something of that nature. Let's listen to Ali describe his understanding of the law, and then let's find out what the real law actually says.
You can have whatever conversation you want with someone you're 17. You got any conversation you want with someone who's 17. Hashtag no cuddles. Okay, that's going to be a thing. Hold on. Hashtag no cuddles. Lucian, we got to work up cuddling into our title. Alright, so I'm going to go to Lucian's scope.
Well, let's see what the age of consent laws say for the United States. And here's clearly what they say. Federal law prohibits the use of any means of communication such as telephone calls or use of the internet to persuade or entice a minor under 18. So the law says 18 federally, which applies to communications over the internet. 18 when it's over the internet. Any sort of sexualized talk or sexualized conversation. Just so that Ali Alexander understands what the law is, it's 18, not 17. We're not making any accusations. However, at minimum, it looks like Ali Alexander is as a man of over 30, at the very least, misunderstood the federal law as it applies to the appropriate age for any sort of sexualized communications.
Well, yeah. So he ended up apologizing. He says, I apologize for any inappropriate messages sent over years. When I've flirted or others have flirted with me, I've flexed my credentials or dropped my corny pickup lines. Other times I've been careless and should have been more qualified. Once again, like I said, when y'all are planning on going up in the world, do y'all not think about like the surroundings of the things that could come back to bite you or haunt you or anything like that? Let's see what else we got going on here. I wanted to get this video of this man fussing at this baby on this flight, but I don't know if it'll be there. This baby was like crying his head off, and the man kind of snapped like, did I pay all this money to hear a baby crying? Which nobody wants to fly and hear that. I don't even like to hear people talk, and I wish everybody would just get on the plane, sit down, drink your little drink, eat your little peanuts, and just go to sleep and don't speak, because we just don't. We don't want to hear your conversation. I don't even want to hear what happened on your trip. Just, the plane is already so loud. Just go to bed. Just go to sleepy time. Let's see what else we got going on here, guys and guyettes. El Chapo's son was feeding their enemies to tigers. When are we getting a new Narcos, man? This is like some good footage that we could have been hearing, but I don't know if the Narcos threaten Netflix or what, but we're missing out on like some good material here. And you don't even gotta go far. I mean, the cartel's been doing all kind of stuff, having all kind of shootouts and stuff, and I'm like patiently waiting on a new season, and we have nothing. There's nothing here, and that's kind of sad. Let's see what else we got here going on. New York City woman sentenced to 21 years for trying to kill her lookalike with poisoned cheesecake. Now that's messed up, because I love me some cheesecake. So please, that ain't the way, that ain't cool. Let's see if we can get that to play.
A poisoned cheesecake at the center of an attempted murder trial. A New York jury finding the woman who served it guilty. Victoria Nasarova convicted of trying to kill Olga Sik, who at the time in 2016 looked a lot like Nasarova. Nasarova stole from her victim, including a gold ring, according to the Queens District Attorney. But prosecutors say her real motive was to steal, quote, her most valuable possession, her identity, and took her passport. But the pastry plot failed when Sik survived. Investigators tested the dessert, finding it laced with the powerful sedative phenazepam. Nazarova was arrested, pleading not guilty in court to no avail. The conviction coming on the heels of another similar high-profile case in Germany, where a woman is accused of killing an Instagram lookalike to fake her own death. Back in 2017, the NYPD telling NBC New York that Nasarova was an international fugitive, wanted for allegedly murdering a woman in her native Russia before fleeing to Brooklyn.
Couldn't be determined how she was murdered because her body was set ablaze.
She denied the allegation to 48 Hours on CBS in 2017.
I'm not a killer. I'm woman. Only woman.
The alleged murder victim's daughter enlisting the help of a private investigator who captured this video of Nasarova in New York and then worked with the NYPD, who made the arrest.
Kind of tugged at my heartstrings, and when I heard this long, horrible, tragic story that just wouldn't end for this young lady because There's no end in sight.
Police at the time say she was also suspected of drugging men she met on a Russian dating app to steal from them.
She's a con artist who has meets people online to a dating site and then drugs them at some point and then takes their property from them and then flees.
One of those men testifying in the trial, as well as the daughter of the alleged murder victim in Russia, all pushing the jury to deliver that not-so-sweet guilty verdict.
Okay, Valerie Castro joins us now live here on Top Story. So, Valerie, what other charges are we talking about here?
So she was actually convicted of 5 different crimes, including assault, attempted assault, unlawful imprisonment, and petty larceny. She'll be sentenced in March and is facing up to 25 years in prison. Her attorney did issue a statement saying while they are disappointed in the verdict, they respect it and, quote, are exploring our options going forward.
Okay.
I am not a killer. I am woman. I am just woman. Listen, this is a Lifetime movie in the making. Don't say I didn't tell you guys anything. Let's see what else is going on.
A mid-flight screaming match caught on camera. A crying baby and a grown passenger who just about had it.
That child has been crying for 40 minutes. Calm the child down, please.
Other passengers recording the outburst as the fed-up man complained and yelled at flight attendants, desperately trying to calm him down.
I'm not screaming. You want me to scream? You want me to scream? Don't scream. Please stop the baby. That child was a black baby. What the f*** will be happening right now? I know you're not going there.
The Southwest Florida flight appeared to have been stuck in a holding pattern due to weather when the passenger erupted in a fit of anger.
So is the baby. We are in a tin can with a baby in a damn echo chamber, and you want to talk to me about being okay?
The video, now seen over 180,000 times on TikTok, spurring some users to come to the angry passenger's defense. A user, CC, commenting, quote, I love this guy. They need to give him a year worth of free flying. Made my day. But even with all the baby cry, some saying it was the passenger who was out of line. A user saying, quote, is he the real baby? Yes. Is he vocalizing how most feel? Yes. In a response to an NBC News request for a statement, Southwest Airlines said, we commend our crew for exhibiting outstanding professionalism while handling a challenging situation. And we appreciate the patience of our other customers on board who had to experience such unacceptable behavior during their flight.
Calm the child down, please.
After the outburst, the video appears to show the angry passenger refusing to deplane, forcing everyone to get off. He then appears to make his case to Southwest Security in a Florida airport. Ayala Charles, NBC News.
This is why I don't like to fly Southwest, though, because I can pick my seat. I don't like the whole you get to get the seat that's left crap. And, I mean, I feel the brother, but it's like going to a movie theater and being stuck with a baby. Sometimes they'll come save you. I mean, you're up in the air, so you can't really kick the baby off, even though they hadn't went anywhere yet. But this is why I hate flying, dude. Like, is there any other way for us to get around yet? Because, yeah. Let's see what else we got going on. Oh, yeah, this dude, he shot these cheerleaders. Let's see. People are just crazy. This is in Texas.
Time, a mixed up address, pulling into the wrong driveway, or confusing one car from another. Yet remarkably, for a third time in a week, seemingly innocent moments of confusion have led to bloodshed. From Kansas City, where a teen who approached the wrong doorstep is recovering from 2 bullet wounds, to New York State, where a 20-year-old woman was fatally shot after the car she was in accidentally drove up the wrong driveway. And now in Elgin, Texas, a high school cheerleader has been shot and seriously wounded after her friend apparently approached the wrong car. A string of tragedies unconnected, except for the fact in each case someone reacted with a gun. In all 3 cases, the alleged shooters have been arrested and face charges. Morgan Chesky has the latest.
3 shootings in 1 week. Missouri, New York, and tonight, Elgin, Texas. All tied to seemingly innocent mistakes. Approaching the wrong car or home.
I'm Peyton Washington on Woodlands Elite Generals.
High school cheerleader Peyton Washington, the latest victim, after a stranger opened fire on her and 3 friends in the parking lot of a grocery store outside Austin.
It was unfortunate. These girls were just trying to get home.
The girls traveling home from a late night practice to where they had all parked their cars. After one of the teens mistakenly approached the wrong vehicle, police say a man began shooting multiple times.
The guy got out and they saw that he had a gun, and so they tried to speed off and he shot his gun like 5 times or so.
Police arresting Pedro Telo Rodriguez Jr., charged with deadly conduct, a 3rd-degree felony, as Washington remains in the ICU.
She's won every title there is to win in all-star cheerleading. She's literally a role model for the kids in this industry throughout the country. Everybody knows her.
The latest shooting comes days after a Kansas City teen was shot in the head after going to the wrong home to pick up his younger brothers. The 84-year-old suspect pleading not guilty today to first-degree assault and armed criminal action and was released on $200,000 bond. The family pressing for additional hate crime charges. Ralph Yarl is now out of a hospital. His family releasing this new photo, calling him a walking miracle. Adding, had the bullet hit his head a fraction of an inch in any other direction, he would probably be dead. Meanwhile, tonight in upstate New York, Kevin Monahan pleading not guilty to murder and remanded into jail without bail. Monahan's accused of fatally shooting 20-year-old Kaylin Gillis. She was in a car that accidentally pulled into his driveway, looking for a friend's house. Police say the suspect fired 2 shots from his front porch, killing Gillis.
For this man to sit on his porch and fire at a car with no threat is just angers me so badly.
Tonight, communities grieving after common mistakes ended with violence in 3 separate shootings.
Incredibly troubling. Morgan joins us now from Austin, where that Texas cheerleader is recovering. What's the latest on her condition?
Yeah, Lester, some encouraging news tonight. Peyton Washington made it through surgery and is currently recovering inside an Austin ICU, where friends and family tell us she's already speaking to visitors. And as for that man who pulled the trigger, we are told if he's convicted on this deadly conduct charge, he faces 2 to 10 years in a Texas prison.
This will be interesting because, you know, Texas is big time. I mean, you can pretty much, you know, they have very lax gun law. So that is interesting. But unfortunately, except for the New York case, everyone is... And this lady from freaking Elizabeth Holmes is still not trying to go to jail. She's appealing her little case that she got sentenced to. They better put that lady in jail, man. And they probably won't, because she's like a ton of money. And, you know, as much as I hate what happened in Kansas City as well, that old man, he looks so old. I just don't even know if they're going to put his little old butt in jail. Let's answer some Reddit questions and then we'll get, because I always get scared because I don't know what I picked in these story times. I know some stuff, so let's just see what we have. Burial or cremation? What do you want to happen with your bodily remains? Me personally, I don't care. Somebody said cremation, just dump me in the trash. Organ donation or donation to science if possible. Whatever will bring my family peace. I'll gladly return to nature. You know, it just really depends on what you believe in. I know some people said, like, if you're not buried with all your organs and you're reincarnated, it messes up your reincarnation. I don't know. Some people said if you keep people's ashes, the person can't go to the other side. It's all kind of stuff, but yeah. But I got a lot of story time, so let me get into those. I could read these Reddits all day. If I find another interesting one while we're playing this, I'll tell you guys. Let's go. Let's see what we got here.
Blessings to everybody. Thank you for the opportunity to be able to be in company with so many people who are willing to be vulnerable and to share. Mine is probably the most recent, I think, I'm not sure, but I had connected with an individual of the same gender, and I've had throughout my childhood up until even this moment dealing with bisexual tendencies, anointed, called of God, and all of that, but did not have an opportunity to really dig into those issues and unpack them. No excuse to it, just what it is. I connected with an individual. It's what they call a sneaky link.
All right.
Yeah. And in that moment, he recorded it. I was aware of the recording. Prior to, it was asked if he could record, and I thought it would be for his personal pleasure, so to speak. Again, I preface this all by saying it was not right. It was wrong, but that's where I was in that moment. I had to acknowledge where I was. Later on that same day, he posted it. He's a content creator. So this is someone who does this as their main or one of their sources of income or whatnot. I called him immediately when I was made aware of it and said, "Why did you do that? Please take it down. I didn't give consent for that, etc." He hung up on me. I called back and he had blocked me. That was the last I'd ever heard from him. That evening, you can imagine, I did not sleep. I have a wife and 3 beautiful sons, pastor a church in South Florida for 14 years at that point, and family, loved ones, all of that. So the weight of that shame sat on me. For the first time ever in my life, I pulled out my life insurance policy. And while church folk laughed at it, while friends distanced from me, I contemplating getting rid of myself. This is the first time I'm saying much of this openly at all, so bear with me if I'm a little shaky about it.
Thank you. This is powerful.
At the end of that night, I wrestled and I said, well, I thought of my sons. And I said, well, do they live with the shame of having a father who's infidelity of that nature? Because, there's usually grace for heterosexual falls. But when it comes to the same gender, homosexual, what does the scripture say? You can fall 7 times, get up. But most folks have their preferences to how you're allowed to fall.
Yeah. This is good.
And I fell in a way that most folks don't think you can come back from.
Yeah.
Whether it's due to it being sin, which, by the way, my theology has not changed. I still believe in what I believe in, which is the fundamental conservative interpretation of the Bible. But I do believe that the approach to my situation and situations like it needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
Because it's more of it than we think.
Yeah.
That night, I decided I'm going to have to live for my sons.
Wow.
For nobody else.
Wow.
A dead dad or a bisexual struggling dad.
Yeah.
Which one? I decided to live.
Wow.
At least for that day.
Thank you. Come on, give God praise for that, church.
And now I'm still in the process of healing. I have gone through maybe 2-3 therapists. My spiritual leadership has been involved, and very few of the people I pastored have actually, been in touch with me. But I understand that. We'll get into that, I guess, later. I understand the different responses from different people. But now I live here in Atlanta, and I am teaching back in the classroom, which was my original profession, and doing some other things in terms of side hustles, as they would say, trying to make up the difference from going from full-time ministry of a growing church to now being the poster boy for what goes wrong when you think you're secure and you're not.
that's all I can say about that. Listen, we all sin and fall short of the glory of God. That is very true. But I just think as leaders, the way that man was championing him on as he's saying what he did. And once again, when you were in this, I didn't pick this, like I said, this was random, but the fact that all these people that I've mentioned tonight continue to be in places where they really, and we're all human, this is why you cannot worship men, because men fall. It's just wild to me. I'm glad that he's getting therapy. That's really all I can say about that. Because he's clearly not that smart. And he's supposed to be a pastor leading people, and he says, sure, you can film our sexual escapades for your personal play. Like, what kind of spirit of horniness was you up under, bruh? Because I don't want nobody filming me, and I'm like, nobody. Let's keep going.
California, July 17th, 2015, 5 p.m. Police are alerted that inside an abandoned SUV parked on a residential street is a dead body. The badly decomposed corpse is sent to the coroner's office so that identification of the victim can be made. Although foul play is not suspected, as police continue to investigate, the case takes a bizarre turn. The body is identified by his fiancée as 60-year-old Jeffrey Allen Lash. Los Angeles police find more than 1,200 guns and 7 tons of ammunition, along with numerous militarized vehicles of his home. His fiancée reports that Lash had proclaimed to be an alien hybrid, secretly working for the government.
It's the weirdest story I think I've ever heard. His girlfriend, and she seems to be pretty normal and legit, claims that he's an alien hybrid, that he was placed on this planet to do something specifically. Nothing adds up about his case. Nothing.
When examining the body, the coroner's office could not find any fingerprints, even though fingerprints are the last skin tissue to decompose.
Lash apparently had no fingerprints. His fiancée believed that he was an alien hybrid. And we have to wonder who this guy was. Was he really an alien hybrid, as he said? Why did he have all these weapons?
Within the UFO research community, there's been a great deal of controversy surrounding Lash's story because there's been a suggestion that his father, Jeffrey Lash, may have worked on the Roswell incident crash. That's to say, he was a scientist who may have been brought in to study the wreckage. And so for that reason, the story has been elevated to an even bigger level, that there was some sort of infiltration of society going on.
A number of people who have claimed that they've been abducted by extraterrestrials also claim that they've witnessed what they say are alien human hybrids. And this would indicate that the extraterrestrials have a program of manipulating people and their DNA to genetically alter us slightly.
Beep, beep. So many of you enjoyed the Texas Women on Death Row series that I did, so today we're going to be going over Brenda Andrew, the only woman who is currently on death row in Oklahoma. Brenda met her husband Rob in 1982 through Rob's younger brother when Brenda was a senior in high school and Rob was a freshman in college. They got married on June 2nd, 1984, and they lived in Oklahoma City until Rob got a job offer at an advertising firm in Texas. In the beginning, Brenda stayed in Oklahoma working her bank job while Rob was getting situated in Texas, but shortly she did move to Texas, get a job at a bank over there, and make some new friends. Then in 1988, Rob was ready to move back to Oklahoma and even got a new job there, but this time Brenda wasn't ready to leave Texas. This started multiple arguments, but Rob did decide to move back to Oklahoma, and he was there for a few months until Brenda eventually followed him over there and she got her job back at the bank that she was working at before. Together, the couple had 2 children. Their firstborn was Tricity, who was 11 at the time of the incident that we're going to be talking about today, and then their secondborn was Parker, who was 7 at the time of the incident. After the kids were born, Brenda decided to be a stay-at-home mom, but she did work as a Sunday school teacher at their church, and church was a big part of their lives. Other than Brenda being a Sunday school teacher, Rob was a deacon. However, throughout their relationship, there have been multiple times where it's been said that Brenda cheated on Rob, and based on Rob's journal entries, he knew. Today, we're only going to be talking about one of them, and that is James Pavitt. He was an insurance salesman and also worked as a Sunday school teacher at their church. Both the Andrew family and the Pavitt family got along, and they would have dinners together as well as do Bible studies together. James even sold Rob an $800,000 life insurance policy with Brenda as the beneficiary in March of 2001. Pretty quickly, rumors around the church started spreading that Brenda and James were in a relationship, and proving that true, in the summer of 2001, James got a divorce from his wife, and in October of that same year, Brenda filed for a divorce from Rob, too. On October 26, Rob noticed that the brakes in his car were acting up, but he was able to get it to the dealership, and when he did, he found out that the brakes in his car were cut. After hearing that, Rob called 911 and told them that he believes that his wife Brenda and her boyfriend James cut the brake lines intentionally and were trying to kill him, but nothing came from that phone call. Then, after that, Rob received a panicked phone call from an unknown person saying that Brenda was in an accident and he needed to rush to the hospital. Now, this is where I've heard different things. One thing I heard is that he took his rental car and he drove to the hospital, and the other thing I heard is that he actually called the hospital to see if anyone was there under Brenda's name, but either way, it was a lie. Brenda wasn't injured and she wasn't in the hospital, but after that, Rob decided to take Brenda's name off as the beneficiary of his life insurance policy and changed it to his kids' names. However, James found out about this, forged Rob's signature, and changed Brenda back to the beneficiary, all without Rob knowing. Now for the main event of this video. On November 20th, 2001, Rob left his apartment that he was staying in to go to the family home to pick up his children for Thanksgiving break. Rob got to the house around 6:15, and when he did, Brenda opened the garage and asked if he could try to fix the furnace. Rob agreed, and he bent down to go check it out. That's when James came up from behind him and shot him with a 16-gauge shotgun in the back. Still alive, though, he rolled over and grabbed a bag of empty cans to block his body, and that's when Brenda shot him, with the pellets hitting him in the chest and neck. And that last shot was the one that killed Rob. Brenda also received a superficial shot in the upper arm with a different firearm, but I couldn't find out if she shot herself or if it was James. Afterwards, Rob ran over to one of Brenda's neighbor's house with a spare key that she had because they were out of town, and Brenda called 911. Brenda told them that her and her husband were shot by 2 masked men, and when they got there, they found Rob deceased and they took Brenda to the hospital. During the investigation, investigators could tell that things weren't lining up with Brenda's story. For example, nothing was stolen from the scene, including Rob's wallet, and based on Brenda's clothes, they could tell that she was shot from about 2 inches away and not 15 to 20 feet like she originally said. Also, with the help of a handwriting analyst, they looked at years' worth of documents, and they found that that most recent change in the life insurance policy had a forged signature. Rob's funeral was on November 26th, but instead of going to his funeral, Brenda, James, and the 2 kids went to Mexico instead. Not long after that, the police decided to charge Brenda and James with Rob's murder, and in February of the following year, they started to run out of money in Mexico and decided to come back to the United States, where they were then arrested at the border and were charged with first-degree murder and the conspiracy to commit murder. James's trial started first in 2003, and he was ultimately found guilty and sentenced to the death penalty, and he actually has an upcoming execution which is scheduled for July 11th of 2024. Brenda's trial started 6 months later, and she too was ultimately found guilty and sentenced to the death penalty in 2004. And as of right now, there is currently no date for Brenda's execution scheduled.
Dang, Brenda. Brenda's got a gun. I think it's Janie though, but why not? Listen, guys, I could go on and on and on and on, but that's why we have these daily. I will be back tomorrow because I got a lot of story time and other stuff that's going on in this crazy world we live in. But you guys are my friends. You are my friends. And I will be back tomorrow. Anyway, I'm not going to do that to y'all. Isn't in yet. It's signing off. You guys have a great night.